Hi, today I'm at the launch event of the new BMW iX3, the Neue Klasse. It's a significant event for BMW, but is it also significant for us petrol heads? It's an EV. Well, anyway, let's find out. In case you don't know, this is the first BMW model from the Neue Klasse line presented in the early 1960s. BMW's post-war model range was outdated, the company was short on funds, and the Neue Klasse was an all-hands-on-deck project. It worked then. How's it going to turn out now? The 2025 iX3 Neue Klasse features a new design language and new tech that will be carried over to approximately 40 of the brand's models by 2027, meaning virtually every BMW that receives a facelift or a new generation in the near future. BMW worked to increase the efficiency of the electric X3. As a result, the drag coefficient is just 0.24. The new BMW iX3 grille design is a modern take on the classic, and I think it looks better than what we witnessed over the last few years, but let me know your opinions. The light signature assumes the role of the chrome-plated elements on the original Neue Klasse from the 1960s. If you're wondering, it is possible to order the car without the iconic glow package, but then you won't be seeing the welcome light animation sequence, which may not be such a bad thing. The iX3 is a couple of centimeters shorter, lower and narrower than the standard X3. However, the wheelbase is 3 centimeters longer. The ground clearance is 17.6 centimeters, which for an EV which has a thick battery pack in the floor is a decent result. In the 6th generation e-drive electric drivetrain, BMW has adopted cylindrical cells, resulting in increased energy density and improved cost efficiency. The new cells have 20% greater energy density than those in the previous generation e-drive. The traction battery capacity is almost 109 kilowatt-hours net, and the battery is huge. However, it's also relatively thin, hence the ground clearance. Instead of packaging the cells into separate modules that are then placed in a housing that is then installed in the car, BMW packaged the cells into a battery that becomes a structural element of the vehicle. The center of gravity is low while maintaining reasonable ground clearance and providing more interior space. By comparison, the old iX3 was smaller, only 100 kilograms lighter, but the battery's net capacity was 35 kilowatt-hours less. With this big a battery, the expected range WLTP is between 680 and 805 kilometers. I suspect if you really push it, you're gonna get about high 400-something, low 500-something kilometers. But, you know, it's better than 250. BMW claims a 40% reduction in energy losses and a 10% weight reduction. The wiring harness itself is now 600 meters shorter and therefore 30% lighter than the previous generation. Let this sink in. It's not only 600 meters now, but 600 meters shorter. Makers of those rodent repellents for cars are popping open their best champagne. The iX3 Neue Klasse supports up to 400 kilowatts charging, which allows you to charge the car from 10 to 80% in 21 minutes, assuming you're going to find a fast enough charger. You don't even have to open and close this flap yourself because the car remembers where you frequently charge and recognizes when it approaches a charging station. The BMW iX3 supports V2L, V2G and V2H technologies, meaning you can power external devices with up to 3.7 kilowatts, send energy to the grid, and the car can act as your home energy storage. Your home can draw energy from the car with up to 11 kilowatts. Perfect if you have solar panels and park at home a lot of the time. AC charging is up to 11 kilowatts as standard, with up to 22 kilowatts as an option. The big news is a 58-liter frunk, so finally someplace to store your charging cable. Good job, BMW. BMW isn't the only brand to realize that the media and the customers may have been onto something all along. Mercedes and Volkswagen also unveiled frunks in their new EVs. The actual boot capacity, according to the manufacturer, is 520 liters in 5-seat configuration and 1750 liters with the second row seats folded down. And this is what the boot looks like. You can't drop the floor, but there is some storage underneath it. And the boot is actually much bigger than it looks, and here are its dimensions. That means we have about 470 liters of cargo space above the floor, depending on how far the backrest and the second row are reclined. With the underfloor storage, there's easily 520 liters. By the way, the BMW iX3 can be equipped with a tow hitch and tow up to 2 tons. The minimum load capacity of the roof rack is 75 kilograms, and the tow hitch can take up to 80 kilograms vertical load. I'm not a fan of pop-up handles, but these work exceptionally well. I know many people recognize luxury inside a car by the smell of leather, and I'm one of them. I think a truly successful implementation of recycled materials was in the BMW i3 more than a decade ago. It was perfect. But the new iX3... While I applaud BMW for their sustainability efforts, and I don't mind plastic frunk covers that are recycled or some metal parts underneath the car that are 80 or 70% recycled, inside the cabin I'd like a bit less sustainability. But perhaps I'm just too old to understand certain modern trends, just like BMW CEO, who called EU's 2035 combustion engine ban a big mistake. There's a surprising amount of legroom in the back and decent headroom. The floor is completely flat. Also, we have USB-C ports, third zone climate control, accessory mounts. The seat backs are adjustable by pulling those straps, kind of like in a Mini Countryman, so that's a bit cheap. And we have an armrest with cup holders. Something I noticed was these floor mats made of recycled materials feel really cheap. I know they're lighter and theoretically more sustainable. I have better carpets in my 2021 Mini Countryman. Currently, both Mini and BMW carpets are thinner and don't fit as well as they used to. I hope they'll at least be durable, otherwise resources saved on initial production will be wasted when a replacement has to be produced. Okay, so the inside of the BMW iX3 Neue Klasse. We have several steering wheel designs, because I've seen one with vertical spokes, and these spokes here are on the side, so it looks more familiar. These buttons they do offer some haptic feedback. They are transparent, so they don't show as much fingerprints as I was afraid they would. There's decent switch gear here in the back, so that's cool. These buttons will change color or appear, disappear, depending on whether the function is available. So for example, the phone will flash green when there is an incoming call, and red when you can finish it. We've got this panoramic screen under the windscreen, which is independent of the head-up display, and it's independent because this is for everyone, and the head-up display is for augmented reality navigation and stuff like that for the driver. You can configure it all, you can make it disappear, etc. 2-phone charger, cup holders, a physical hazard light button, so Euro NCAP had something to say about that. Armrest under console storage, and as far as the quality is concerned, this is something we've seen in the Mini Countryman, so a lot of recycled materials, but it feels like BMW is going down market rather than up market, which is a bit strange. Oh, and these door handles work much better than I expected. The new BMW OS X with Panoramic iDrive will also be gradually implemented in subsequent facelifts and new generations of BMW models. Jürgen Freyer, Vice President for User Interaction Development, told me more about how the system was developed and how it works.
We start with a vision, and our vision is very clear: eyes on the road, hands on the wheel, because that's the way you drive a car in a safe way. And we showed very early our vision to use the windshield to project information there. And around 4 years ago, we had the technology in place to build something like the panoramic vision. This is based on display technology and the projection by a specific nano coating on the windshield, where you have that floating image in front of you. And here you exactly have that. You have eyes on the road, hands on the wheel. And what is important for us, when we start to think about a new generation of iDrive, and this is the Panoramic iDrive generation, we invited from day one real customers that are not related to BMW to be part of our engineering teams. And we asked them, what should be different in a system? What should we modify? What do you want to use very frequently? What is probably a little bit difficult in today's BMW? And we listened very carefully and modified our system. And if you think about a new generation, you always have to balance between different modalities, so ways of interacting with the system. One thing is having real control elements, like you see it in the door. We have a mirror adjustment, we have real buttons on the steering wheel to operate important functions, we have seat controls, we also have the typical stokes, because we believe for these functions this is the best way to interact, especially in blind operations. You do not have to look on that. Second thing, there are touch functionalities in the central information display. And we optimized it in a way that it is a lot closer to you as a driver, so it's easy to operate. The ergonomy is perfect. And also we brought it very close to the steering wheel, that it's super easy to touch, and that the time where you have your hand not on the wheel is limited to the minimum. And by that, we could also have a complete new touch experience here on the screen. And last but not least, all important functions, and I can show you an example here for example, media control. I just press the button and we see the list here, and I can easily operate it on the steering wheel, and always my hands on the steering wheel and my eyes are on the road. And the distance for the display is perfect, because you do not have to look down. You can see the environment, the traffic, and still have everything in your line of sight. We integrated displays that lie in the dashboard, like this.
Okay.
And then we have a specific nano coating on the windshield, and a reflection of the display images bring these virtual images that kind of float in front of the windshield, because the area where you can see the image is kind of in the bonnet of the car. And this is the perfect distance, as we are around 1.10 meters to 1.20 meters, depending on your seat position. And this is also for your eyes very easy to adapt on this, if you also look to the outside to kind of control the traffic situation. There is an optional 3D head-up as well, where we do a fusion of ADAS and navigation information, and where you really have that depth of augmentation. This will be launched with the Neue Klasse as well. Second thing is, the information we show here in the panoramic vision have to be seen in all lighting conditions, with sunglasses, with everything. And the technology of classical head-up displays, like we have it in our cars on the street, is in these dimensions a little bit limited, because with polarized sunglasses you cannot see it today. And also, if the sun is very bright, these systems come to a limit in a way. And this panoramic vision has no limit. You can see it in all conditions. So it's always safe. You have everything in your line of sight. And this is the reason why we were able to also reduce that cluster, what you had in front of the steering wheel, what was not perfect in the past because you always had to look down. If you look at the steering wheel, so what did we do? We have a haptic coating on it that you can do really blind operation here. It's not a touch-only system, it's a touch and force system with active haptic feedback.
It clicks, yeah.
It really clicks, exactly. And we analyzed, again, using customer data from cars on the street. So we have around 10 million cars on the street where customers gave their consent that we can look in the data. And we completely analyzed what kind of function, how often do they click on a steering wheel to, for example, skip a title or to open a media list and interact with it. And by that we optimized the buttons, the size, the position, the click of it. And what is special, especially on the left side, we have ShyTech buttons. What does that mean? If, for example, you drive on higher speeds, the parking button will disappear because you do not need it if you drive on a highway. Or if all driver assistance systems are not active, you also don't need the plus minus to set the set speed. And then we again reduce it to the max, and that makes it super clear and super easy to operate. And whenever you need the buttons, they are there. If you look here, you see the personal dashboard, what you can configure. Very simple in a way, just by dragging and dropping. Yeah, you say, okay, I don't like the date here, but I want to have my telephone status, and this is there. There's no phone connected at the moment. Or you could just drag and drop things. Yeah, just put it in that you want to see, okay, the compass here. This is typically for the personal mode, but with a simple click in the mode framework, for example, you can change the complete character of the car. Now, the values are not there as we are not driving, but you get a full screen power meter and a G meter. Or if you want to have more informations, you could also have a kind of a board computer with the most driving related informations: power, torque, rotation speed, drive train temperature. You will have that directly in your line of sight, and we changed to that wonderful orange what we had in our heritage. It's exactly the same nanometer orange what you're going to see here as well. With one click on efficient mode, you see you have everything related to efficiency in one view. How far you can get, how much this car is parked for quite a while. That's the reason why these values might not be the right ones. But it's super easy to have everything at a glance in front of you. And we even introduced a silent mode because, again, we listen carefully to our customers. And some gave us the feedback, well, if I drive at night home on my own on a very dark road, I want to have very, very few informations. I just need my speedometer, that's it. And you can do that, again, by a simple click.
BMW launched the iX3 in the 469 horsepower 50 xDrive form. Less powerful and more affordable variants will follow, but details haven't been announced at the time of this recording. Currently, the iX3 starts at €68,900, which is considerably cheaper than the 398 horsepower X3 M50 xDrive and not much more than the 30e xDrive PHEV. And how do you like the new BMW iX3? Let me know in the comment section below. If you like my sarcastic, down-to-earth and possibly mildly amusing car reviews, join me every Friday at 3 p.m. Central European Time, and don't forget to subscribe and like this video as it helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.